Hi everyone, it's Neil Bennett here from the Worship Foundation, and in this video I want to look at a subject that a number of people have raised with me recently, and it's this: how do we make good, healthy decisions about the songs we sing in church, given the finances that are involved and the power those finances confer on the songwriters and song movements? And at the outset, let me say I'm not here to unilaterally recommend cancelling of any song movement or songwriters, but I do want to give some information and maybe pose some questions that we all need to ask when making these sort of decisions for our own churches. And by way of a little bit of background, in 1988 an organisation called CCLI was established, and CCLI was established to ensure that local churches fulfill their legal responsibilities in terms of performing rights and royalties every time a song was used in church. CCLI was created to manage the flow of those finances. And since 1988, CCLI has grown significantly in terms of the number of regions around the world that it serves. And then in 2017, CCLI itself was sold to a performing rights organisation called SESAC, and SESAC was also sold to a global with-profit private equity company called Blackstone. So what do those financial flows look like and how much is involved? And I'm going to focus here on the UK, where I am, and I'm going to provide some order of magnitude pounds amounts to some of these flows, just so we can get a handle on the amounts that are involved. So every time a song is used in church, and actually in the UK in schools as well, every time a song is used, it generates a financial transaction of the order of £1. That's an order of magnitude. It's not quite that simple to say it's £1. The calculation is more complicated, and that involves far more factors like size of church and so on. But if we can get a handle on it, it's of the order of a magnitude of £1, and that's a lot more than the fraction of a pence a stream on Spotify, for example, would generate, or the £25-30 plus that it would generate if used at a big conference. It's about £1, and that's comparable, I think, with the royalties that would have been generated through the sale of a CD for the whole content of a CD. It's about £1. And every year, when all those pounds or order of magnitude pounds are gathered from all the different churches and all the different songs that have been sung in the UK, currently that generates of the order of £7.5 million a year. And if we were to move out to the whole world, that would be around 50 million a year. But in the UK, it's about £7.5 million a year. So where does that £7.5 million go? And just to say again, these are order of magnitude numbers. The exact details aren't available on Companies House website or the accounts. They're order of magnitude numbers. So around 5 to 10% of that £7.5 million, around 5 to 10% goes in profit to the parent organisation. Around 25 to 30% goes to the administration costs of CCLI itself, which means the remaining between 60 and 70% goes to a combination of the song publisher, the songwriter, the song movement. That's 60 to 70%, which is around 5 million every year. And all else being equal, this would equate to somewhere in the region of 30 million worldwide each year. And of course, when we take into consideration that most worship music is listened to now on streaming platforms that generate very little money, and CD sales that used to generate quite a lot have almost disappeared, we can see how this is the primary source now of income for worship songwriters and song movements and their publishers. And you can quite imagine that if you're one of the major worldwide global worship song brands, that you would actually get quite a big proportion of that money. So having got some sort of handle on the amount of money that's involved, let's return to our original question, and that is, how do we as local churches make good, healthy decisions about the songs we use in church? And I think the first thing I want to say is, let's make those decisions carefully, like any other spending decision in the church. Even as an individual, I buy quite a lot of stuff off websites, and before I do, I'll assess their green credentials, their values, the way they treat staff, how they exercise power in their own marketplace. There may be lots of things I find out about a company that I don't like and still decide to buy off their website, but I would have done it with knowledge and understanding. So maybe that's one of the things we should do as local churches is let's consider the values and practices of the song movement, of the songs we want to sing. How closely do their values and practices match our own values and practices? What do they do with their money? What do they do with their power? But of course, it's not just about money. The story and values and practice of a particular song movement in a particular moment can become so prominent that the use of their songs in worship becomes a distraction in itself. Of course, we may go through all of this and decide that with all integrity we can't sing particular songs from particular song movements. And we may be challenged, and people might say, well, won't we miss out in our local church? Won't we miss out by not singing these songs that the rest of the worldwide church is singing and calling anointed? And the honest answer is yes, in some respects we may miss out, but hopefully would have made a better decision for the greater good. And I think it's probably true to say that we make these sort of decisions in other areas of church life. We may decide as a church not to invite a particularly gifted speaker to speak to our church because of their character. And in some respects we'll have missed out on what they could have otherwise brought us, but hopefully would have made a better decision for the greater good and the health of the church. And it seems to me that there has been immeasurably more damage done to the church by embracing gifting over character than anointing lost by embracing character over gifting. And by way of finishing, I want to ask a question that maybe is the most important question of all, and it's this. What is it that we have vision for in worship as a local church? What is it that we want to see flourish? Who are the songwriters, the song movements, maybe something more local and regional that we should be putting more time and money and energy into? Maybe let's focus more of attention on some of those things. In fact, I sometimes wonder whether the availability and accessibility of great songs from the big song movements has actually made us a little bit lazy in all of this. And maybe if we made different decisions as to which songs we sing in church, we would see greater creativity and diversity in the songs that we sing, and more writers around us flourish in their worship songwriting. Well, that's where I want to finish on this video. I hope you found it helpful, and I want to send my love and my prayers and my blessings to you as you think through all of this and make hopefully good, healthy decisions for your own churches.